Hello and welcome to the Ham and Rem show here on Hamdard Speaks. Today we unpack one of the most sensitive and strategically important issues in South Asia, the worsening relationship between Pakistan and Afghanistan. From historical friction around the Durand Line to intelligence operations, military and trade disruptions, and the recent mass deportation of Afghan refugees, the two neighbors once again find themselves at a critical crossroads. Afghan refugees are being returned to Afghanistan in large numbers after a sweeping repatriation policy by Pakistan. As of October 2025, roughly 1.48 million Afghan nationals have been repatriated under the government's repatriation plan, including many who held long standing refugee registration cards. The returns follow closure of dozens of refugee camps and strict enforcement of expired registration card deadlines. But the mass return is unfolding amid a sharp escalation in cross border tensions. Clashes in October triggered border closures and suspensions of repatriation, and only after a ceasefire was brokered were returns resumed. The volatile security environment has added urgency. Right now, the relationship between Pakistan and Afghanistan is at a crossroads. What began as a decades of shared culture, kinship, and history has turned into a tense and fragile standoff. And the consequences are being felt on both sides of the border. In early 2025, Pakistan carried out airstrikes inside Afghanistan, targeting militant hideouts. What followed was the worst cross border violence in years: deadly clashes, civilian casualties, and widespread fear among border communities on both sides. Since then, both sides have agreed to a ceasefire brokered by international mediators in Doha, Istanbul, and Saudi Arabia. But despite diplomatic efforts, deep distrust remains, and recent talks in Riyadh have fallen through. The talks in Saudi Arabia last weekend were the latest in a series of meetings hosted by Qatar, Turkey, and Saudi Arabia aimed at cooling tensions following deadly border clashes. This isn't just politics or military strategy, it affects families with cross border roots, traders, refugees, and ordinary people whose lives depend on regional stability. The question is, can peace return before tensions spiral again, engulfing the entire region? To help us make sense of this complicated situation, we are joined by Afghan political expert Hamdullah Hamdard, a respected voice in regional affairs. Thank you for joining us.